Hi, I'm Gregory Iron, the only professional wrestler with cerebral palsy, and I guess the only interviewer backstage with Blackfly. And today I'm sitting down for this Patreon exclusive interview with the one, the only, and I don't know if I should call him beautiful or handsome. Maybe we'll just stick with Pretty Ricky.
Howdy, howdy.
Good to see you.
Great to see you. Thanks for having me here.
Why are you so pretty?
My parents worked very hard and they got great results on it. So, honestly, I do believe that the jawline is a choice. I had an eating problem when I was a kid, so I ate a tremendous amount. And I do think that kind of sculpted my cheekbones. The same way you think about like a heavy person walking around and their calf muscles that they lost weight, they're jacked. I think the same thing happened to my jawline.
It's interesting that you mentioned that because I too feel like I have a good jaw
Yes,
height.
yes,
I
you do.
thought to myself when I was Googling, I chew gum up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, is this from gum chewing?
Yes.
Have you ever looked that up?
Absolutely. It's all muscles there. You can build that up. I've gone to a chiropractor because I had a jaw problem and she had to get her fingers into my mouth to release tension of those muscles. So it's the same as anywhere else on your body. And I do believe that builds up that manly chin jaw there.
Wow. And I'm glad that you don't hide it with a beard or anything. You just have the mustache, which I feel like for some people it could be a choice, okay? But for you, it works.
Thanks.
Why the mustache?
So when I was fresh out of college, I had a goatee because I felt like it shaped my face. And I had a guy I was working with looked at me and goes, "Man, if I had a chin like you, I would never wear a goatee." And I went home and shaved that day. I've had a mustache ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, how long have you been wrestling now?
Man, I started March 2016 was my first match, so I'm coming up on 10 years, and it's like terrifying to say that because I still feel like one of the new guys around, and the idea I've been doing it for that long is crazy to me.
So terrifying because you still feel like a new guy, but do you feel like you have like 10 years of like good experience on your belt? Because I got to be honest, like I feel like I've been saying this about a lot of the interviews today, but you and Puff, but like you alone, I was hearing stuff about you before I met you. I feel like you're incredibly underrated. You have
Thank you.
great comedic timing. Like, do you feel like you have 10 years worth of wrestling?
It's hard to say because the actual wrestling, I'm not going to do a Tarek match. I'm not going to do a Von Vertigo match. Those guys are killers and bangers, and that's just not what I bring to the table, and I recognize that. When I thought of guys who had been wrestling for 10 years when I was just getting started, in my head, they were a lot better than I am. So I don't know if I necessarily have that. I would maybe say I've got like 5, 6 good years, but that's over the course of 10 years, so it's some fluff in there. That's me being lazy.
So when you started, did you have an idea of who you were going to be as a wrestler? Like, did you envision who you are now, or did you have a different idea? Because let me preface this with, I was really inspired by guys like, as a kid, I loved Hogan, right? And then as you get older, it's like Jericho and Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit and like technical guys like that. So when I started becoming a wrestler, I was like, man, I want to do like technical wrestling and submissions and suplexes. But then there was like a moment where I was like, wait a minute, I got one functioning arm and cerebral palsy. So it's like if I'm like out wrestling people and just suplexing everybody on their dome, I'm also 5'4". I should probably point that out. Probably doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yep.
So then I started to figure out little things that I can incorporate from those guys that I love. And I'm never going to be Kurt Angle. I come to terms with that. So like, did you get a sense of who you were?
Completely the maturity of you to even be able to say that of like that right there explains why you were as good as you were, that you were able to recognize like this is what I can do, this is what makes sense, and this is how to use it.
I'm not good at it. It stopped a long time ago. I'm too old for this crap.
I don't believe that. I'll get you back in that ring one of these days. But no, same idea. When I was a kid, Jeff Hardy, Rob Van Dam, that's who I wanted to be. I loved the ladder matches. That was crazy stuff for me. And then I got in the ring and got on the top rope. Oh, this is not for me.
Yeah.
So I had to find a different path. And, same thing. I'm not 6'6". I'm not jacked to pieces. So what can I do? What do I bring? And it's a personality, my ability to talk. I've had that since I was a pretty young man, and I don't necessarily know where it came from, but like I got to lean into that. When I got into wrestling, I respected this business so much that I was as quiet as I could be. I was respectful every time I was around anybody involved with wrestling. So people thought I was a fairly boring, quiet guy. And then I got the opportunity to do what I wanted in the ring. And it was a general sense of what the hell is this? I was a referee for a couple of years before that. And the amount of promoters that have booked me as a referee and as a wrestler, but not made the connection. It's a lot of them because I was an entirely different guy.
That's so funny because and again, I can't put over your skill level enough. Like, right? Like even though like you don't fit into the traditional like I don't know, like, I guess what you described is like a super indie guy. Are we still calling people super indies anymore? I don't know.
Bangers, the kids are
Yeah,
saying, but
yeah.
I'm not a kid anymore.
Like, you're not doing that style, but the fact that, like, people don't realize the transition from ref to
Mhm.
wrestler because, like, it's like two different people,
Yeah.
right? Like you became, I feel like, that good in both areas. It's the same way with Anthony Green. Like, I don't know how much interaction you've had with Anthony, but like, he refed one of my matches way back in the day in Cleveland. And then when I started working with him, like, I always felt like AG was a guy who had great ideas and everything like that. And then he told me, oh, I refed like you and I think it was like a tag match with like me and M-Dog or something. Cleveland, like, what, really? And I had to go back and watch the footage, and I was like, holy shit, like, I didn't even put it together. Like, so when you were able to show your personality, like, how did that happen?
So I went on the 6-week Northern Death Tours through.
I didn't know you did that.
Yes, I did. That's how I got started.
Okay.
So I, more or less, I was cosplaying as RJ City and trying to, because he was, my idol on the scene, hidden Psycho Mike. And if you look at what I do, you can see that start to piece together there.
Before you
Please.
tell everybody, for those that don't know, what the 6-week death tour is.
So this is through reservations across northern Canada, so the Northwest Territories, Manitoba, all those for 6 solid weeks, going from one to the next. We were crossing frozen ice lakes. The way I like to describe it, it's most of these towns are 24 hours to the local Walmart, so it's way out there, and it was a real eye opener for me because I was I'm from Brantford, and that's what I was used to. So that was a very different way of life. $40 for a case of water at the northern store if you're curious. So
Oh my God.
it was a crazy time, but it was every day, multiple matches. And, that's why I say, 5-6 good years in there because that was such an accelerator. After 6 weeks of doing that, I came back. I was a brand new person. I was a brand new performer. And I started making waves pretty quickly because of how quickly that kind of just drummed up the energy from me. So I had enough practice of playing out which little pieces work, which don't. But sorry, I got lost in myself here. There's backyard footage of me when I was like 16, 17, and it is shockingly similar to what I do now. The only real difference is when I started it, I thought this was like cool. I thought I was going to be a really cool guy, and I came out and everyone's like, this is funny. Okay, we'll go with that then.
Did you have a different backyard wrestling name?
The Chiseler. I don't like saying that as an adult, but yes, that was my name, the Chiseler.
What?
As a 10-year-old, my buddy's dad wanted me to give him a nickel so that he could get ice cream for all of us. He was a nickel short, and I said, no, I'd rather have the nickel. And he said he had never met someone so cheap. He turned me the Chiseler, and that was my backyard wrestling name.
Wow.
I think there is actually an indie wrestling poster with my face on it with the name Chiseler Willdy on there. So that didn't make it very far.
Did you incorporate the cheapskate gimmick into the character, or was it solely named? Because before you answer, I want to let you know that my backyard wrestling name was Greg Berg.
Greg Berg.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Because Goldberg
Yes.
was popular, so I was Greg Berg. And I'll have you know that I was only slightly smaller than I am now, so not much has changed. And the gimmick was in no way like Goldberg at all.
Okay.
So I was Greg Berg, and I said, who's last, I think, is what my catchphrase was. But outside of that I wore like a vest that looked like Stone Cold's vest that said GIMP 24/7. So I also was like I had a handicap gimmick, I guess, because I knew it was there.
Yeah.
It made no sense. So were you a cheapskate?
I still think that's incorporated with what I do now. The term before I was able to put any polish on it was trash can hero. I was like coming from the clearance aisle was the idea behind it.
Okay.
So the real fundamentals of Pretty Ricky. Do you know the Trailer Park Boys?
Yes, obviously.
So
Yeah.
the character of Ricky, if he was like a stripper, so that you put that together, it's Pretty Ricky, and that's pretty well what I'm trying for.
I love that. That's awesome. Me and Shane Saber, we have a unofficial tag team gimmick that we never do called the Thrifty Boys.
Okay.
We have a habit of, doing stuff like going into hotels that we're not sleeping in, and we'll like go in the morning and get breakfast and stuff like that. Anything to save some money,
Absolutely.
right? Brother. But maybe you should bring back the the Chiseler.
Yes, yeah. Well, on the road he's still there, but yeah, in the ring that name doesn't get brought up.
What's the cheapest thing you've done on the road?
Ooh, well, Top Tier is a wonderful promotion with piles of catering, so I should be sticking to a meal plan, but there's pizza and brownies back there, and that's what I'm going to be filling up. So last night in C4, same thing. I knew we were going to be taking a stop at an A&W at some point.
Yeah.
If I can get as much of these cucumbers and muffins into me right now, then I don't need that on the road, and that's the idea there.
Now, when you're not pro wrestling, something that I just found out.
Yes.
You love Christmas.
I do.
And you love being Santa. Now, when I see you, I think to myself, this man is not built like Santa Claus. What does that look like when you make that transformation?
I am quite proud of the transformation into Santa Claus, quite frankly. I make a real point of it when I show up anywhere I'm going to wear baggy black clothing because I feel like that's the full transformation into the spirit of Santa Claus for it. The best way I can describe it is I was backstage at a Demand Lucha show, and I believe it was Freddie Mercurio, but I could be wrong on the name. But as I made the transformation, as I was talking to him, once I put on the final few pieces, he looked at me and goes, even though I just saw you put that on, there's something happening right now. And I really do try to become Santa Claus in that moment. I'll let you in on this. This is one of my favorite pieces of wrestling trivia that I've ever had. I got to drive Mick Foley from the Toronto hotel to Battle Arts, and I figured he gets bugged about wrestling questions every day of his life. I don't want to ask him about Hell in a Cell, so I said, well, I watched I Am Santa, his documentary, and I've become a Santa Claus myself, and I've taken that from you. And he kind of thought about it, and that's interesting. And then he says, who loves being Santa Claus? John Cena. So John Cena is, in his spare time, when he's not making wishes or winning championships, he's also being Santa Claus, which you think about the character of John Cena, it's like, yeah, that actually makes a ton of sense for who he is.
But like top secret Santa Claus? Like they don't know he's John Cena?
Yes, it's just Santa Claus, but it's John Cena playing Santa Claus. And, you think about how big his hands are and how big his shoulders are, and it's like, that guy's Santa Claus. So my biggest insecurity, wrestling, real life, Santa, it's the fact that I'm not tall enough. If I was 6'6", I think everything I do would make more sense.
Yeah.
But I am what I am, and I do the best what I can.
What's the coolest moment you've had as a Santa?
So the place that I'm at right now, I've been there for 5 years, I think now, and it's to the point where families have come to take photos with me, and it's very good to see you guys, and they make a point of saying, no, we waited for you. They're like, the adults are aware that it's different people, and they're making the point that we're here to see you, and recognizing that, like, oh, I'm in these families' photos for the last 5 years. So as they get older, every time they reflect on these Christmas photos, I'm the guy in that photo, and they're specifically choosing to come see me. They've been going up to the front desk and asking, when is he back? Because they want to have the pictures with me. So those are... it's hard to not get almost a tear in my eye of kind of feeling like I've made a connection here in a very real way.
Yeah.
Anytime, parents come through with the children with a disability, mental, physical, anything like that, recognizing in that moment that what I'm able to provide, and I'm just a normal guy, but the idea in that moment I'm able to provide that Christmas feeling, that magic, that moment for these parents who are working tremendously hard, and to have that real pure moment for the whole family is one of my favorites. There's a young man who comes through, again, this is the 5th year I've seen him, and he's mute and deaf. So I picked up a little bit of sign language from him. So I'm Santa Claus, Merry Christmas. And then this year I saw 2 women were signing to each other, and I was able to stop them and do that same thing. And they had no idea I could do that. So that got a big reaction on them. And those are the little moments that I'm living for.
That's cool, man. Like there's it's the parallels between being Santa and just a wrestler.
Yes.
It's all about making a connection. Once you figure that out, the game changes, right?
Absolutely.
You mentioned magic. Talk to me about why the tag team connection of you and Puff is so magical to your Top Tier Wrestling.
Oh man, there's Puff is magnetic. People love him. As soon as he walks in a room, it's hard to not just gravitate to him. He's the most positive, excitable guy. He's a barrel of laughs. People are drawn to him. His magnetic is the only word I can use for it. So we were paired up across the Ontario Indies wrestling each other for about a year, and eventually promoters kind of went, well, we can't keep booking them against each other, so we're making them a tag team. And it really is me and Puff just sitting down going, how can we have the most fun possible today? And we do look at wrestling fairly different than most people, where Cole Cabana made the point. I went to a Kikutara seminar when I was younger, and they both harped on, this is not improv comedy. this is pro wrestling. So it has to be within the bounds of that. And we can't, we can mess with the format, but we have to stick true to what this actual art form is. And both me and Puff have that same mentality. We gel very well together. And all we're looking to do is create the most excitement in the room we possibly can.
That's what it's all about. And like, just in general, like, there's something special about being able to, like, we're not stand-up comedy comedy people, right? But like, why did I say stand-up comedy people? Stand-up comics. But there is, with everything, whether it's a comedic spot, a serious spot, a sad spot, there's timing.
Yes.
And I feel like you guys have impeccable timing.
Okay.
Is that something you guys had to work on, or is it just a natural chemistry?
I've been doing performance for most of my life, so it does feel like I've honed the skill over the last 10 years wrestling, but I have been working for that my whole life. Like, great example, when I started at Battle Arts, I had a big jacked up buddy, his name's Bradford Montague, and he said, "Come on, Ricky, let's be studs." And I looked at him and, like, with all honesty, I don't really want to be a stud. That's just never been a concern for me. I never wanted to be like the hot guy or the cool guy. I really wanted to be funny. I really wanted to be able to level rooms like that. And that's what I've always worked on. So that timing for those jokes, it does translate to other performance, other elements like that. And I do love that you say a sad spot, because people don't think about that in wrestling. But, cheer or boo is very basic. So the idea that we can really have elements here. One of my favorite moments in wrestling is, a backstage promo that the guy didn't realize was being filmed, and it reveals that he doesn't really have confidence in putting me and Puff as like the tag team. And the reaction I had in the ring was to get really sad. It started welling up, and I ran away because I was ashamed and embarrassed. And the feeling in the room was that everyone was like with me, and they were upset for me. And when we made our return back, the excitement in the room was some of the loudest moments we've ever had. And if we had just focused on they're the bad guys and we're the good guys, it would have been okay, where we were able to touch into emotions that don't get brought up in pro wrestling enough.
Yeah, it's layers.
Yes.
Like I was talking earlier with Cody Diener, it's like how, his podcast is Wrestling is Life, Life's Wrestling, right? And I do think that when I think about wrestling and life and the parallels, it's layers, because like anytime you have an interaction with someone or you leave a relationship, like much like in real life, it builds that layer of who you are.
Yes.
And you walk away and you're able to convey that emotion a little bit better going forward. And I just feel like there's a special power in what we do to make people laugh and cry and happy. And I think you're one of the best.
Well, thank you.
What do you think the future is for you and Puff? Tag team champions?
Tag team champions.
Yeah.
Doing pretty good with that. We're happy about that with Top Tier. I would love to explore some more names, is the real answer here. Tag teams that we haven't touched yet. The idea of bringing PME up here, we've touched.
Ohio boy.
They're phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think the world of them. The main event is another one that we've had some great times with. But anybody we could get up here, I think we would have a lot of fun with. Maximum Male Models. I've only interacted with one of them over the internet through a podcast, and for him to not know me and for me to start taking little jabs at him of, oh yeah, you got contract money, you don't need this, and him being willing to roll with that quickly and making jokes with me, it was like, oh, this would be fantastic. We would have so much fun here. So that might be my dream. But
I think it's my dream now that you're like, as soon as you said that, I'm like, hey, promoters, bookers, what are we doing here at Top Tier? I think that's the match of next year.
Let's make some money.
Maximum Models versus Pretty Ricky and Puff. Pretty Ricky, with the holidays upon us, is there anything that you want to leave the fans with? Any words of wisdom from one Santa to, well, they're Santa fans?
The best thing I can say is that I actually didn't like Christmas until I started being Santa Claus. And it felt like, there was always drama. There's always tensions about what gift and what money. Then I became Santa, and I really started recognizing the actual meaning of Christmas, as it were, the spirit of the season, the hope and excitement in the kid's eye. That's the idea of what we're doing here. So if you're able to bring any kind of hope, excitement, joy to the world, we perform, we make magic because we want more of the magic in the world. So this is what I do to try and create that magic in the world around me, and I encourage everyone to do the same, because this is a beautiful, beautiful world we have here. We only got one shot at getting it right, so let's have some fun.
I couldn't have said it better myself. One last thing before we unlock these hands. Can you just take your glasses off and lean a little closer? I don't know if I want to kiss, but I will say, God damn, he's pretty.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.